I'm a damn dance teacher. I've been dancing since I was 3. Of course I will do this. It's just look at this. It's just a wakeboard. Svetlana, you have the life of your dream. You have to get better. You're a teacher. You have to do that. You have to do that. And gratitude, because you are actually moving on the way. Even though maybe steps are clumsy and small, it doesn't matter because you enjoy it. It's your passion. Building up the techniques is always the process that is barely visible, but super important. And it will shoot fast. I cannot do even a single spin. I already fall. Like, I'm not talented at all. And so like this. And then you can see her like doing triple of... So they went out of the city. They found a cow. I don't know where. And they recorded the video together with the cow. Hello, my dear guys. My name is Svetlana Rey. I'm a salsa mentor, dancer, teacher, psychologist, and also dance teachers coach. I started to dance salsa 15 years ago, and also more than 8 years I'm training dance teachers. I decided to create this podcast to make your salsa way more joyful and feel of successes instead of being filled of frustrations. I want you to get as fast as possible to the beloved top social dancers list and have a lot of fun, a lot of joy, and always improve fast. This episode I want to dedicate to the very, very actual topic about how to stay motivated for the trainings. It's very actual among all the dancers, but I also noticed that now, as with the pandemic, I started my online courses, I clearly see how do the dancers get separated for those who are motivated to train and they also disciplined. This, I believe, has pretty high correlation. And they train very often and they get great results. And at the same time, there are others who also feel like they want to improve, but they don't get enough motivation to train regularly, and therefore the results are not that good. That's why I decided to create an episode for this podcast about motivation, because there are many mistakes that you can do that will absolutely ruin your desire to learn. And now I want to start with the story about my travel to Colombia, because this is a perfect example of how my own brain, and I believe our brain works, like humanic brain works this way, can actually ruin everything. I was traveling in South America for like more than 4 months last year, and I came to Colombia. And then I came to Medellin, and I decided to stay in this city for longer because this city was just my absolute dream. Medellin has everything. It has amazing weather. It has great people. Colombians are naturally amazing and lovely people. It has salsa everywhere. Salsa is a huge part of Colombian culture. Salsa plays in every shop, in every taxi, in every club, wherever you go, amazing salsa plays. It's not like, pop, strange salsa. It's like very cool, authentic, like Héctor Lavoe, Fania salsa, very cool songs that I absolutely love. It has live music everywhere. It has parties everywhere. It also has amazing schools with amazing dancers from whom I could learn. And it has nice restaurants, sightseeing, and everything. And when I came there, I was like, that's my place to be, guys. I just want to stay there because it's amazing. And I literally had just the life of my dream because I had my marathons. I had to work, like really work, like 4 hours every second day to give feedbacks for my students. Also some quick feedbacks for my mentorship students during the day, but it would take like maybe 10, 15 minutes, not much. Also to post stories, but it's not like of course I love to post stories because I just wanted to share everything, what was going on with me. And the rest of the time I could dedicate to the things that I love. I would go to listen to the live music. I would go to learn at school salsa for a long time as a student. I enjoyed it a lot. I also would go to the parties and also would do sightseeing, go to the gym, train in the gym, train by myself, doing some whatever, spiritual practice, everything, just everything. But after 2 weeks, I had tickets to Barranquilla to see the carnival. And when I was at the airport, I realized that I got absolutely drained. I felt drained. I felt exhausted. I felt demotivated to do anything. And I couldn't understand why, because I was like, Svetlana, you have the life of your dream. What happened? And I started to analyze and I realized that the basic thing that happened is that I want to things into I have to things. For example, I got to my salsa classes and we had this solo improvisation battle training. And I had to battle with some amazing dancers, and I felt really, really kind of frustrated afterwards because I was like, I could do this better. And I felt very motivated to train. And I really wanted to train. But then my brain was like, Svetlana, you have to train. You have to get better. You're a teacher. You have to do that. You have to do that. And then I didn't even notice how my brain actually started to turn this into this you have to, all the things that I wanted to do. Sightseeing, you have to go sightseeing because you're in Colombia for the first time in your life. You have to see the things. You have to work out because you have to stay in shape. You have to go to the salsa classes because you have to improve. And this you have to just filled up my life and drained me absolutely. And I didn't want to train at all, even though you know how much I love salsa. It's my absolute my passion and a huge part of my life. So the main thing that I want you to keep in mind is to really pay attention to these moments when your brain wants to put these restrictions into your life, and try to always train from this state where you want to do this, but not when you have to do this. It's just like an overall idea of this podcast. The good thing about that, now I'm already talking as a psychologist because my mom is also a psychologist, and we both did some consultations and discussed how does it work. And we found out that actually when you have this setting in your head, like, I have to do that, you do some stuff. For example, I have to train, and I train. But when I get rid of this setting and I change it for I want to train, I actually do the same. I train. So good news is that when you will get rid of this, I have to train, I have to get better, because of this, because of that, you will be doing exactly the same things, but with absolutely different feeling. And this is amazing. So please keep it in mind when your brain will create fears and you will start thinking, but if I won't have to train, then I will not be so good. Or then maybe I will not progress as fast, and when nobody will invite me at the party or stuff like this. No, exactly the same things will happen, but you will just have different inner feeling while doing them. Second thing I want you to focus on is try to observe your training instead of expect something. So observation instead of expectations. Because again, it's pretty much the same. Your brain starts telling you, you have to do the routine. If you're at the class, you have to learn the routine with everybody because we can do this, for example. And then you cannot learn the routine. And then you start getting frustrated because you think that something is wrong with you. But you always forget that everybody has different background and everybody's growth looks different. That's why try to always observe what's going on. If you observe small kids, they will never put any kind of expectations of themselves. They just discover the world. They just see how it goes. If they play in water, for example, they will discover, okay, if I put something in water, it drones down. And if I put myself in water, I drone down. But if I start to move fast, maybe I just start kind of floating. And if I do this way, it works like this. And then do this way, it works like this. This is pure investigation. And this is what I want you to focus on as well when you train. Because observation doesn't have any limits. Observation doesn't have any pressure. But at the same time, observation is attention which you pay to yourself. And you also see the progress and you also see your mistakes. So the effect is pretty much the same. You see your mistakes, you see your areas of growth, but you feel happy because, okay, you did the next step in your journey. And it's still wonderful. Yes, maybe you're not like all the other group mates, but you did your own step. It worked. You're on this level. Great. You're satisfied. You're happy. You go home. You get your treat. I don't know, drink a cup of cacao or coffee or pat your dog or hug your beloved ones. And then you feel happy. And then you want to get back to training because it gives you this amazing feelings. Whereas when you put pressure on yourself, like, I have to do this, I have to do the routine, I have to already, I was dancing for 4 months, I already have to be better. No, it's your journey. Try to focus on your journey, try to make it full of joy, full of appreciation and gratitude because you are actually moving on the way. I have a funny example about expectations. When I was, my ex-boyfriend gave me a trip to Alps, and there was like what was it called? Extreme park outside. And they had wakeboarding. And it was the first time I ever tried wakeboarding. And I remember I was sitting on the shore and observe the guys. And I was analyzing everything. I was like, okay, the power comes from there. I have to push through the board. I have to keep my shoulder blades back, and I try to analyze it, everything, and observe it. And I was like, I'm a damn dance teacher. I've been dancing since I was 3. Of course I will do this. It's just look at this. It's just a wakeboard. And then I was like an absolute mess. I was drawing down every time. I couldn't begin. I was drawing down, and then I began, and I was drawing down in the middle, and then I really couldn't do this. And at some point, I remember I looked back, and my friends were sitting, and they had these faces like, okay, maybe it's not your thing, just forget about this. We can do the next activity. And I felt so bad. And actually, I was laughing. I turned it into a joke. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I'm a dance teacher with so experienced, but still cannot do this. But I clearly felt it, I had this pressure. I'm a dance teacher. I have to do this. I have to do this well. And I felt very bad screwing up. But at the same time, when you don't have pressure, just observe, then it's more fun. The tip number 3, don't compare yourself with others. I already mentioned this in a previous podcast, but again, this thing is super important because you have to understand that when you compare yourself with somebody else, you tend to take your worst features and compare it with the best features of another person. For example, I'm now learning Spanish. My Spanish is not that good. And if I compare it, sometimes I still do this mistake. If I compare it with some native Spanish speakers, of course, I feel very intimidated and bad because my Spanish is bad. And in the best case, to have a proper comparison yourself with somebody, you have to find a person with exactly the same background. In the best case, exactly the same IQ, exactly the same physical experience, exactly the same everything. And then you can compare, okay, maybe I'm a little bit worse or a little bit better. Unless you find this person, which is almost impossible, it's really bad idea to compare yourself with somebody. I will not maybe even compare myself with myself unless, what I love to do is just to watch videos from the past because you clearly see the progress. If you now take your video from the first salsa lesson when you're just fighting with the basic step, you will clearly see what's going on and it will give you a great feeling. And also you have to know that, for example, when you're in a group and you see different people dancing around you, of course you subconsciously compare whether you're better or worse, but you have to understand that every learning process has this hidden period of building up the basics. And in this period, it's very difficult to see, as if you're not a teacher, who is doing it well or not. It might look like a person next to you who is repeating after the teacher better, for example, is dancing better than you. But maybe at the same time, you're building up the techniques, which will give you, in a perspective, better look when you dance. It's like building up a tower, for example. If you give a task, you build up the highest tower to an architect and to a random person. Architect, what it will do, I'm not an architect, but I imagine architect would lock himself in a room and start doing counts, right? Some research about some measures. If the tower is that high, the foundation has to be that big, and it will do all the count. He will do all the counting because he knows that without counting it won't work. So most of the time he will spend in his room counting and nobody will see it. But then when he start building the tower, it will be great. Whereas another person might just have start without any counting or just do it approximate. And then maybe the tower will grow faster, but you never know, maybe it will fall down early or stuff like this. So building up the techniques is always the process that is barely visible, but super important. And it will shoot fast. So as your techniques are generalized in your body, then your dance will look very, very great, like this, bam, out of the blue. Most of the times. And people will notice it. Before that, they wouldn't have noticed anything, but then when your techniques will start settling down in your body, they will see the progress, and the progress, they will say, oh, you grow so fast, But no, you just had very long hidden period of building up the techniques. Try to always keep it in mind. The tip number 4, record and watch your videos. I already mentioned partially this tip in the previous podcast, But again, it's very important. You have to monitor your progress. It can be either recording the videos, which is the easiest way, or you can also write the diary. One of my students did it, and we were laughing so much after reading that while reading that, because she was just writing things like, I cannot do even a single spin. I already fall. Like, I'm not talented at all, and stuff like this. And then you can see her like doing triple or more even spins while she does partner work. And it was like, yeah, you remember, you did this. You wrote it with your own hand. So you have to monitor the progress, just because our brain has the tendency to devalue things that we already have learned. For you, the basic salsa steps is very easy. Just 6 steps, right? Everybody can do this. But if you come to the first salsa class and watch people, you will see that for some people, this task is enormous. It's like super difficult, because it's actually not very easy. And also because basic step has a lot of techniques on basic stuff on the background, which you have to keep in mind. And it goes like this all the time. You are struggling with single spin. As you master it, it becomes right away easy. I don't know why does our brain do this, but it works like this all the time. You think that something is easy as you master it. That's why in the moments when you feel frustrated and you feel that you're a bad dancer and you grow too slow and nobody invites you and maybe dancing is not yours, you can be 100% sure that your brain has already devalued the things that you've learned, that you've gone through. Yes, maybe for you, learning process takes more time. Maybe you just started to do salsa when you're already, 40, who knows? And your body just absolutely shocked because it has to obtain absolutely new techniques. And it's great. You just do it and try to monitor the things that you've done, write them down or fix them on a video, and you will see that the growth actually is happening. And it's happening most of the times actually faster than you think, because we just simply don't notice how many tasks our brain is doing during one class. And moreover, because you will see on the video that some of the things you actually didn't even realize how you changed. I saw it many times on the old videos of my students when they have the weight over the heels, for example, or, I think it might be familiar to you when they dance salsa on one. To do the first step, like long first step, just with the leg, without transiting any part of your upper body, just the leg goes forward on 1, and then 2, 3, and the same with 5, 6, 7. On 5, just the right leg goes back, and the body stays in the center. So it's like a huge pendulum basic step. It looks very funny, and actually, when you see the person now is dancing, you cannot even see a trace of this basic. But there was not a moment when a person was consciously actually correcting it. So you will also see on these videos how much work has your brain done without actually you even noticing it. And you will hopefully start valuing yourself more. Tip number 5, work in groups. It is not maybe very easy for some people to find some soulmates to train with, but if you have any chance, even if you're in a very small city, just at least think about somebody with whom you might train. Because from what I witness, the small groups that train together, their progress is way higher, way higher. I have a very cool example of a Slovakian crew. Recently, there were 2 girls joining my mentorship. I think it was this January. They joined my mentorship, and then after a while, a guy wrote me, and the girls wrote me, okay, this is our friend. He also wants to do the mentorship, but he wasn't already able to join the normal program, so we did it privately, and they were like training 3 of them. Then I realized that actually they live in the same city. And we did some calls together in the mentorship. And then they joined the marathons. They joined, I think, 3 or 4 marathons in a row. And the brightest one was the last musicality marathon, when they actually did many, many tasks together. They would just gather at somebody's place and just do the task together, analyze things together, train together. And for one task, you can't imagine, so there was a task connected to cowbell rhythm. And the cowbell, is the instrument that they use in salsa. But at the same time, cowbell, if you translate it literally, is like a bell for cows. In Alps, they wear it. So they went out of the city. They found a cow, I don't know where, and they recorded the video together with the cow. It was so much fun, and I can only imagine. I see them shining. I see them laughing when they're recording the task together. It's just like a huge party. Everybody's super happy. Everybody has a lot of fun, but at the same time, they learn. Can you imagine how cool is that? When your learning is not connected to, I have to do that, I have to work, I'm not good enough. When your learning is connected with gathering to your friends, take some aperol, dance, whatever, have fun. And even when it is connected to the feedback, of course, when you learn together with the group has the same knowledge as you most of the times, and they can give you great feedback because they see from outside better than you feel from inside most of the times. So all the examples of the group that I see are great. Groups have the tendency to grow faster. That's why if you have any chance to find at least one person or better 2 people to train with, gather them. It doesn't matter whether girls or boys, or it really doesn't matter. Just gather them, train together, set the schedule, do some tasks, join some courses together. You will have more fun. You will simply have more motivation to learn. That's for sure. Tip number 6, talk to people. Might be pretty much connected with the 5th one. So if you have a group, of course, you have tons of things to discuss. But also, if you just go to a party, try not to sit in a corner. And if you don't ask anyone to dance, and if you're not asked for a dance, just go to people that are there standing and talk, ask. In the best case, to begin, you can, maybe you'll be surprised, but you can come to advanced dancers and ask them questions. And also, believe me, people always love to answer questions. If you tell them that they're great, I mean, you have to be sincere, of course. You find an advanced dancer, you give him or her a compliment. You say, I adore you dancing. Your technique is so great. Please tell me, how did you get this result? And people will tell you all the secrets. Believe me, you just need to listen carefully, smile, and be sincere. And you will get tons of information and also tons of inspiration because you will be integrated better in a society. You will be surprised, but as far as I observe, girls get invited because of 2 reasons. No, 3 reasons, okay. They are very hot, they have high heels, short dresses, and they look really sexy. This is the first reason. Second reason is they're great dancers, of course. Third reason is they just talk to people. They are just engaged in a society. They know people, they hack people, they have fun with people. When they talk and people know them, they get invited. So you can choose either of 3 ways. All the ways work. So just choose it. And also, when you talk, you can ask questions. You can really share some troubles that you have. Something doesn't work, or this figure doesn't work, or you don't get good feedbacks from the followers or from the leaders. Feel free to ask, because people love to share. People love when they're asked because they feel needed. They feel that their experience is valuable for somebody, and they will always be open to share it with you. Tip number 7, watch stuff. Go online. It is always very inspiring to see videos, to see other people dancing. And also, whatever you watch, try to look for you will subconsciously obviously do this already, but if you do it consciously, it will also give you a better impact. Observe the techniques that you already learned, or the concept that you already learned. For example, now, as I started to teach musicality and started to teach the concept of clave, I always catch the songs that have clave, like they're written on clave, even though they are maybe not salsa at all. I remember one of my students was very funny. She sent me, during the arm work marathon, she sent me a screenshot of Lord Farquhar. Remember this, the short lord? The screenshot when he was sitting on the horse and he had his arms spread to the side. She said, my student said, I was watching this movie, Shrek, with my boyfriend, and I saw that Lord Farquhar has a perfect arm styling when he spreads his arm, like his elbows turned down, shoulder blades on its point, back straight, and it was very funny. But at the same time, first of all, it helps your brain to generalize the knowledge and to understand the principles better, and secondly, it's a lot of inspiration. So instead of just maybe surfing on the internet and watch cats, try to watch salsa dancers, maybe old salsa videos, concerts, and everything that is connected to salsa. It will give you a lot of inspiration because you will feel that you're part of a huge culture. And the last tip, which is pretty much connected maybe with the second last, go to the festivals. I remember one of the brightest impressions of the last years was when I went to El Sol, to Warsaw. And I don't remember why did I have this strange mood, but I was like, Guys, I'm already a very experienced dancer, and then Seoul is so huge. It has so many beginners, and I don't know, maybe I'll have fun, but I just go there because my friends are going. I was very chill about it and very skeptical. But I remember that I came to the concert. It was Rei Rui's concert, and I saw the shows. I was standing watching the crowd, and I realized how great it is actually to have these huge festivals because it was developing. Now it's concentrated at one point with so many incredible dancers, incredible teachers, incredible DJs, beautiful girls, musicians, everything at one place. And this is just super inspiration. So if you have the moment when you're depressed, you think that salsa is not yours, you think that you're not good enough, you might first check all the other episodes of the podcast, but then you buy the tickets and go to a big festival. Go to a big festival like Berlin Salsa Congress, Warsaw, Magic now becomes bigger, just to catch this feeling, just to catch the authenticity and just to feel the culture. And you will definitely get inspired by all those things. And also you will get the chance, of course, to talk to people, to discuss. You have no idea how many discussions do social dancers have about leading and following, about great followers, great leads, and all the other details which get very inspirational because you have so many ideas of what you can try. You can try to look at your partner differently. You can try to follow differently. You get maybe some tips from the dancers. How do they get lighter leading or lighter follow? How do they become lighter in leading and following, or how they used to train? So go to the society, talk to people, watch concerts, just enjoy, get drunk, have fun, and you will absolutely get all the inspiration back. I go quickly to the list from the second point to the last one, and then I will come back again to the first very important one. So the second point, observation over expectation. So try to observe your progress instead of expect results from you, because expectations gives a lot of pressure to you, which you will deny, and you will stop learning actually because you just feel pressure. You simply won't like it. Number 3, don't compare yourself with others, because you have the tendency to compare your bad sides with others' good sides. Only compare yourself with yourself, or better, just don't compare at all. Number 4, record and watch your videos or write down a diary. Because when you'll see your progress, it will always motivate you. And also because when you learn something new, your brain has the tendency to devalue these things. Always keep it in mind. Number 5, find mates, work in group, because progress in groups is always higher because people just have more fun learning, and they also can support each other because they have the same amount of knowledge. Number 6, talk to people, go to the party, talk to people, ask questions, and don't be shy to come to advanced dancers, give them compliments and ask them questions because they love to share information. They will definitely love to share information, and you will get information maybe that you need. Number 7, watch videos, go online, watch videos, try to find the techniques that you're learning in the material that you see, and also just watch everything that is connected to the culture because it will simply inspire you. Last point, go to the festivals, buy the tickets right now. I sound like a promoter maybe. Buy the tickets and go to the festivals because you will for sure have a lot of fun, especially when you talk to people and don't sit alone in a corner. And the main thing which as a psychologist, I want it to stay in your mind. The training has to be always fun. Please try to get rid of this I have to do things and switch them to I want to. Train always when you want. When you don't want, you don't train. And maybe if you are lazy, you can just do a very small thing that you like. For example, you're lazy, you don't want to do the whole workout, but you just play the song that you love and you maybe mark the accents or hit the melodies with your fingers. You just actually still lying on a sofa, but you're already training. You train your musicality. And then I bet that you listen your favorite song and then you listen to another favorite song and then you're like, okay, I do the training. So it has to be always it has to be a fire that burns inside of you that gives you the desire to train. Even if your training is very short, but you did something. Remember the idiomotor training I was mentioning in the previous episode. It will always help you. So train in your head, dance in your head, or quickly do the routine, or quickly do some techniques, some spinning. If you're on a slipping surface, just train some spinning. It has to be always fun. It has to be always light, with no pressure, with no judgment. Just observation, just having fun, because if you are feeling yourself and the environment around you with this just awesomeness. You have salsa, it's awesome. The music is awesome. Your growth is awesome. It's awesome that you just have even maybe 3 minutes to train the small thing. It's absolutely awesome. You praise yourself for the training. And when you will grow with this feeling of joy, then you will always have bigger and bigger desire to come back to the training, because we have the tendency to come back to the things that we love, that gives us good feeling. Why? The habits are so addictive, because we get this sweets, for example. You ate a cake, and you loved it because it's sweet and you want to eat a cake again. So try to turn your salsa into this huge cake, like sequence of small cakes. You train, you get this positive approval. Yes, I did it great. If you don't want, you don't train. Don't force yourself. If something doesn't work, just skip the task. Switch into another one. Train with the feeling of joy, and you will always continue to train. So guys, if you have any comments, please feel free to write them under this podcast. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate and ask me directly. You can find me on Instagram, Svetlana_Ray. Feel free to write me, ask me any questions. I love a lot of questions. And also, if you have any ideas of the information I can share in this podcast, also feel free to write. If you love the podcast, share it with your friends and make more amazing, joyful dancers. And have fun with your trainings. Big hugs. More than 15 years ago, and no, more than, it was 15 last time. For example, if, I don't have an example, give me a second. Why this final part is always pissing me off.